All right, welcome to the explainer. I want you to think back for a second to the last test you took. Chances are it had some pictures in it, right? We've all heard that old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. But when that picture is sitting right next to a test question, does it actually help you score higher? Or could it even be hurting you? Yeah, we've all seen them. Diagrams in your science class, photos, and a history test. But what are they really doing there? Are they helping you perform better, or are they just, well, window dressing? Today, we're going to dig into what the science actually says. And we're not just guessing here. This is based on a huge new review of dozens upon dozens of studies.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with a really important distinction, a key difference in how pictures get used in education in the first place. And trust me, this one little difference, it changes everything.
All right, so on one hand, you've got what's called multimedia learning. This is when pictures and text are used together to help you learn something new. The goal here is teaching. But then, on the other hand, you've got multimedia testing. And here, the goal isn't to teach you anything at all. It's all about accurately measuring what you already know. It's kind of like the difference between a friendly tutor who's helping you out and a really strict judge who's just there to give a verdict. And here's why that distinction is so important. For years, the research on pictures and tests, it's been a total mess, all over the place. You've got some studies saying they help, others saying they hurt, and a bunch saying they do absolutely nothing. It's this exact confusion that led a group of researchers to say, okay, enough is enough. They decided to dive in and systematically review 62 different studies to try and finally get some straight answers.
All right, let's get into it. So how do you even begin to make sense of all that conflicting evidence? Well, the researchers started by breaking down the pictures into 4 established types based on what the picture is actually doing in the test question. So let's meet our 4 main suspects. Okay, so the researchers basically sorted all these images into 4 buckets based on their job. First up, you have decorative pictures. These are purely for looks. They have zero relevant information. Think of them as just pretty fluff. Then you have representational images. These just show you something the text is already describing. Next, there are organizational pictures. These give you a structure, like a map or a diagram, to help organize your thoughts. And finally, and this is the really critical one, we have informational pictures. These contain essential info you literally can't find anywhere else in the question.
So now that we have these 4 categories in mind, what did the giant review of all 62 studies actually find? I mean, do these different picture types really affect our test scores differently? Oh, yeah. The answer is a big, resounding yes. Okay, let's look at the evidence. Starting with those decorative pictures, the findings from 12 different studies were crystal clear. These pretty aesthetic pictures, they have no meaningful effect on your score. The good news is they don't hurt it, but they don't help it either. They're just kind of there. But this is where things start to get really interesting. When we look at the representational and organizational pictures, the ones that illustrate the text or help organize your thinking, the review found a super consistent positive effect. In other words, both of these types tend to actually increase your test performance. It seems like when a picture helps you visualize the text or gives you a mental map, you're just more likely to get the answer right.
And get this, the benefits aren't just about getting a better score. The research also found that representational pictures seem to boost how much you enjoy the test and how confident you feel while taking it. So not only are they helping you solve the problem, they're actually making the whole stressful experience of taking a test a little bit better. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, but hold on, because this is where our story takes a really sharp turn. Remember those informational pictures, the ones that are supposed to be the most important because they have unique, essential info? Well, the results for these are an absolute mess, a complete puzzle. Some studies found they boosted scores, some found they did nothing, and get this, 5 different studies actually reported that these helpful pictures decreased performance. How is that even possible? So, that crazy contradiction around informational pictures, that's a huge red flag. It basically screams that the old way of classifying these images is flawed and just plain confusing. So what did the researchers do? They proposed a new, way simpler framework to try and bring some much-needed clarity to all this. And their new approach is actually beautiful in its simplicity. It's just a 2-step process. Step 1 is to ask, what is this picture's main job? Is it just for decoration, or is it actually informative? That's it. Then, step 2 is to describe its secondary features, like how complex it is or what art style it uses. This brilliantly separates what the picture does from what it simply looks like. And maybe the most important change they're suggesting is really simple but really powerful. They say we should just drop that confusing old term informational altogether. Instead, they want us to use the word informative. An informative picture is simply one that provides information you need to solve the problem. It sounds like a tiny tweak, I know, but that one little word change, it brings a world of clarity. Okay, so let's tie this all together. Why does any of this actually matter to you? I mean, beyond just being an interesting academic puzzle. Well, whether you're a student getting ready for an exam or an educator who's designing one, there are some really clear real-world takeaways here.
Look, if you're a test taker, knowing about these picture types is like having a new tool in your toolkit. You can look at an image and quickly figure out if it's a helpful guide, a harmless distraction, or something that might actually confuse you. And for all the educators and test designers out there, these findings are absolutely critical. They're a roadmap for creating fairer, more effective tests, ones that actually measure what a student knows, not just how good they are at figuring out a confusing picture.
And this really brings us to the core of the whole issue, and it's captured perfectly in this quote from the study. See, just because a picture makes a question easier or helps you get a higher score, that doesn't automatically make it a good thing. And why is that? Because the point of a test isn't just to get a high number. The goal is to get an accurate measurement of what someone truly knows. If a picture just inflates the score without reflecting real understanding, it's not a helpful tool. It's actually a flaw in the test itself.
So from now on, when you're taking a test and you see a picture, you'll know what to do. You can ask yourself, okay, what's this thing's real job? Is it just decoration? Is it helping me organize my thoughts? Or is this an essential piece of the puzzle I need to solve? Is it helping me prove what I actually know? Or is it just getting in my way? The power is in your hands now. You have the tools to figure it out.